Hello, students. Welcome to class again. And we're on page 94. And we're on lesson number 5, pronunciation. Negative contractions. Okay, you know what a contraction is in British English? They call it short form. In American English, we call it a contraction. And so listen and practice. If you see exercise A, there are 1-syllable contractions and 2-syllable contractions. So let's practice the pronunciation. Say these after me. Aren't. Aren't. You have to make the T sound on the end. You see, all of these contractions have a final T. And so you must make the T sound. Aren't. Weren't. Don't. Isn't. Wasn't. Doesn't. Didn't. Say these again. Aren't. Weren't. Don't. Isn't. Wasn't. Doesn't. Didn't. Now let's try saying these sentences together. Listen to me first. She didn't call because there wasn't time. She didn't call because there wasn't time. My tongue, when I make the final T sound, my tongue touches the top of my mouth every time. Didn't. Small little didn't. Small little t. Didn't. Wasn't. And so your tongue, to make that sound, your tongue must touch the top of your mouth for a moment. She didn't call because there wasn't time. They aren't there, but she doesn't know. They don't go out often, but they aren't home today. She isn't going to wait because she doesn't have time. They weren't home yesterday either. So practice saying these after me. Pay attention to the R sound. Aren't, weren't, and don't forget the T sound. Very quiet, very quick. So say these after me. She didn't call because there wasn't time. They aren't there, but she doesn't know. They don't go out often, but they aren't home today. She isn't going to wait because she doesn't have time. They weren't home yesterday either. Say these after me. Didn't. Wasn't. Aren't. Doesn't. Don't. Aren't. Isn't. Doesn't. Weren't. What do you think your homework is? Your homework is to say these sentences, all right? Practice them a few times and then record your voice and send them to me, all right? Practice saying them clearly. Before we go, let's just look at the American English. It's called the R-controlled vowels. Americans say their R different from the British and Australians and New Zealand. We say what's called a strong R sound. The sound of R is That is the sound of R. The name of the letter is R, but the sound of the letter is The British would say the name of the letter is They would not make the sound. They would make the sound. Okay, but listen, if you see on the screen, there are 4 different ways of saying it. One is called the schwa plus R, stir. One is called the R sound, star. One is called the R sound, or, store. And one is called the air sound, air, stare. And so say these 4 words after me to practice the 4 different, there's more, but the primary 4 different R sounds in American English. Stir. Ni tam kinyom. Stir. R, star. Or, store. Air, stare. All right, and so remember, British English, Australian English, and American English are different when it comes to the sound of the R, very different. And so practice saying these also. And one more thing, practice saying the R sound. Let's do this before we finish. Say these after me. R, air, war, sir, warm, born, hurt, ear, right, person, morning, picture, library, product, produce, district, research, president. And so these are all of the different words we can use to practice the American R sound. But for your homework, I only want you to go back to lesson 5, exercise B, and I want you to say these sentences very clearly with a good American R sound. All right? I'm waiting for your homework, and I'll see you in the next lesson.